Everything was possible at that time. Everything was possible in the 90s. And I became the director general of the company in my 30s. I used to work for the most richest man of the Czech Republic and his company called PPF. We played on the Christmas parties of this company. For example, we had as a support band, we had Lenny Kravitz.
Wow.
Staying.
He'll do.
Immediately when I joined the Czech TV, we built a system to look how we are balanced, not on one day, but during the time.
Where do you see the future of television?
3 years from now, like 60 or 70% of every content on the internet will be AI produced.
Wow.
I recognized that the Czech TV should join Eurovision again. The Czech critique, they felt like it's a more like freak show, and we tried to change this opinion, and I believe that we succeeded. By the way, do you know when we met for the first time?
No, what was that?
We met with Miro Žbirka because you produced his album in Abbey Road.
Yes, that's right.
And we went there together with Miro for a visit and for a tour of the studio.
Peter, thanks for coming today. Welcome to the new dopeYEAH Charlotta Space Age Museum. It's a new space that Peter's created, and it's pretty extraordinary. This is your second time here, I think. Am I right?
Yeah, I was here like a month ago when it was almost finished, but not in that shape like we can see today. It's amazing. It's a great part of the dopeYEAH Club. It's something, which basically broadens the experience of dopeYEAH.
I think it's so much more than just, say, a really fun place to come to, which it is. It's just amazing and it makes you smile. But it's kind of important culturally, I would say, as a space. I mean, you don't see anything like this in the world.
If you are a fan of music, if you are a fan of sound, you are in your paradise here because you can listen, but you can also see all the machines, historical machines, new machines who produce sound. And this is really amazing. I'm able to spend here hours.
The first thing I said to Peter today is, where's my bed? I'm moving in, I mean, it is like a cathedral to music. It's homage to music in the best possible way. I think what Peter has created here is extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a thing of great beauty.
He's the one. He's somebody who really loves music, who loves, to collect all those things and who loves to put them together and enjoy them, not by himself only, but also with other people. And this is very nice.
And you go back a long way with Peter, don't you?
Oh, we know each other since like 4 years, maybe 5 years. And we've done a lot together when I was in the Czech TV. We produced some programs together.
Yeah, he's an extraordinary man with sort of, I would say, a maverick and slightly eccentric in the best possible way.
Yeah,
he just brings a kind of energy and a kind of vision to things, and he's kind of unstoppable.
Yes, exactly. He's the Terminator.
Yeah, he is. It's like when he wants something, he gets it. And I like that. He's single-minded, and I think all the best kind of innovators and great business people are single-minded. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, but they're the people who drive things forward, like the Bill Gates or the Steve Jobs of the world. They were kind of very single-minded. They had a vision, and he has a vision, and he makes it a reality, which is a wonderful thing to be around. I love his energy and the way he makes things happen.
And as he has a vision, he knows where to go. He doesn't know the path, and if he chooses one and it doesn't work, then he finds another way. But he still goes to meet his target, and this is very nice. This is somebody who is visionary, and Peter is visionary.
So listen, just getting back to your life. I mean, you grew up in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, exactly. I was born here in the Czech Republic, and I spent most of my life here.
And which part of the Czech Republic was that?
I was born in south of the Czech Republic, in the city called České Budějovice, which basically nobody from abroad knows. But if you say that this is the city where the original Budweiser is produced, then the people start to know what it means. It's the beer which is produced there is the original Budweiser, and they have many lawsuits with the American Budweiser about the name. But I'm from the city where the original Budweiser is produced.
Amazing. So you grew up in Prague, and then you had some education in Chicago in America. Is that right? Am I right on that?
Look, I first started my university here in Prague.
Okay.
I spent like 6 years in Prague. Then I started to work for like 10 years after the Velvet Revolution, after the 89. And then after 10 years, I basically joined University of Chicago, and I studied there the international MBA program. And I joined their international campus in Barcelona. But I spent also some time in Chicago because they basically run two programs in parallel.
Right.
One for the Americans in Chicago and one for the international students in Barcelona. And we basically sometimes even got together, and we, as the American students came for some time to Barcelona, we went for some time in Chicago. And my final examinations were in Chicago.
And was that a big influence on you, kind of spending time in America, the cultural difference? Because it is a different culture.
Look, I like America since my 18 because of movies, because of music, because of the free spirit which you can feel from the society. And basically, when I finished my university here in '89 and the borders opened and the revolution was over, I was willing to go and study in the States immediately. And I even did some like exams to join Harvard or other schools, and I was even admitted. And then, when they sent me the proposal of the yearly bill, I said, okay, this is something I cannot afford, so I have to start working a little bit. So I started working, and 10 years after, I just found out in the newspaper that there is a presentation of the University of Chicago of that program. So I went there, they made the presentation, and I said, okay, this is something I'm going to do. And now I have even money to do it. I can finance it from my own pocket. And I did it. And that was my best learning experience of my life, really. Because first it gave me some sort of education, mainly managerial, accounting, finance, marketing. But it also showed me how to do my priorities, because that was the executive course, so I didn't have to spend there all the time. I went to Barcelona for 1 week every month, and in the same time I was running my own business here, and I had to learn how to let the business just be run without myself, and spend the time there and come back and just start again. But in the same time, during the period when I was here in Prague, to prepare myself for the next run. And there I had to learn how to prioritize. I had a family that time also. I had small children. So it was kind of, learning of, the life balance. And basically I got many friends from all the countries around the world from the program. And we just stay in touch. Just in the last year, we celebrated 25th anniversary of the program. So it was really great.
So again, going back to the Americans, I mean, the one thing they've got in abundance is confidence and the willingness and to try new ideas. So after the revolution, obviously, is it fair to say that like Czech society was trying to find its feet, and you go to somewhere like America and you see that unbridled confidence and, gung-ho, go ahead, grab it kind of mentality. Did that really resonate with you at the time?
Depends on the personalities. But frankly speaking, I believe that, me and, the people my age or around my age, they had a big advantage that, everything was possible at that time. Everything was possible in the 90s. And I became the director general of the company in my 30s. So, and I was able to run the big companies. I was able to run, to establish, the free market here. And this is something which the young people basically cannot do today. They have to go the traditional way, step by step, But we were jumping into it.
It's like the Wild West.
It was Wild East or Wild Central East, and it was really great. And I was lucky to go through that period, and it gave me a lot of experience.
An exciting time.
Oh, exactly. We have some sort of saying that if you remember the 90s, you didn't live them through. Because
Right.
it was a kind of a big party, but in the same time a lot of work and a lot of in some sort of success, but in some respect also some failures. But if you did the failure and you could learn from it, that was also a very important thing. So 90s, great time. I always remember that. If somebody tells me go back there with my experience today, I would.
Yeah, I had a great time in the 90s myself. I was living in London and moving from Dublin to London, and that was a big difference of culture. I mean, we did very well, or are doing very well in the UK. Irish people, we assimilate very well into other cultures, America, UK, anywhere. We're kind of a migrating kind of people, really.
You have the language advantage.
Yeah, we got the English, and it came at a tough cost, historically. But I think in the end, it was an advantage. It is an advantage now. But just looking back on Czech culture again. So, how did you end up gravitating towards television? Did you watch a lot of television when you were a child? I'm sure the television wasn't great in your youth. Here was it? Was it
not
controlled?
really? I tell you first how I came into the television, and I tell you my approach to the television as such.
Great.
In the 90s, I used to work for the most richest man of the Czech Republic and his company called PPF.
Right.
And, in the end of the 90s, I was responsible for like a banking business of the group. And we tried to privatize a Slovak bank. And that time we met a guy who came with the proposal, if we don't want to think about the deal of the biggest Czech commercial TV, which is in troubles. And we decided to go for it. And basically we did some sort of hostile takeover of the station. And I was the one who brought the deal. So from banking and insurance, I immediately went into the media. And because I brought the deal to the group, the owner, he told me, okay, now it's your turn and you are responsible for it and do it. And that time, we were looking for the CEO. So I was asked to be a CEO of the commercial TV. And I started to learn, what media means.
All right.
So that was my entrance into the media. But, for the television, I was not so interested when I was a child in television. But television was one of the reasons why I started to learn German. Because as we lived in the border with Austria, we were able to watch Austrian TV. So I started to learn German only because I wanted to watch other TV than ours.
Right.
And in the same time, I was really a big fan of movies and a big fan of music.
Mm-hmm.
And for the movies, I had a big advantage because my grandmother, she worked in cinema.
Doing what?
She just, turned the tickets and introduced the people to their places. Yeah, I don't know
An usher, cinema usher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I spent my childhood in cinema because there was one movie 3:30 in the afternoon, then there was another movie 5:30 p.m. and the last 8 p.m. And there were days, and every time there was a different movie. So there were days that I spent the whole day only in cinema watching all the movies.
Wow.
And it was so nice. And even my grandmother, she allowed me to watch some adult movies for the people 15 plus when I was 11 or 12. She always watched. And if she felt like it's okay for me, then she allowed me to go there. So I saw many movies which, my classmates. They basically couldn't see. You know? So I like those movies, and for the music, I loved music since my 10 or 15, and again, music was the reason why I started to learn English.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to understand, all the texts of my favorite bands. So that's why I started learning English in my 15,
And what were your favorite bands at the time?
Oh, that time, many. From the classical Beatles, which already finalized their career, to Rolling Stones, Deep Purple, many Czech groups that time, which started to try to do the rock and roll. We would spend like 2 hours when I should, do all the list.
But you play guitar.
Yeah, this is again, one of the reasons why if I like music, I wanted also to be not only the one who is a passive listener, but who can also produce some music. So I started to learn to play guitar in my 15, and I didn't learn it until now, but I do it. I do it with fun and with passion.
And modern artists, who do you like of the kind of new groups coming out and artists?
Again, I try to listen, all the new music which comes, to be like, to have all the information, but in the same time, of course, I have my favorite bands. But I can tell you whom I watched, or whom I visited in the last month, A week ago, we went to London for the concert of Black Keys.
Oh, great.
It was great. It was great. Next week, we go for the concert of Bruce Springsteen, which is here in Prague.
Fantastic.
Then we are going to one of the biggest rock festivals here in the Czech Republic, which is called Rock for People. We come back 2 days after. We go to Glastonbury.
Wow.
Which is...
Have you ever been to Glastonbury?
No, it's my first time.
It's crazy.
It's my first time, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's so huge. I've been there many times, and I played there a few times as well.
Oh, good.
But
this is something which it was always, my dream to get there, and I used the opportunity to find some tickets as a media partner, and I'm really looking forward.
You will do a lot of walking.
Oh yeah,
massive.
I'm fine.
It's like miles long.
I'm fine.
It's like it seems never ending, but it is incredible. It's a lot of fun, and everybody's there.
Yeah, and when we come back, I'm just going to Switzerland, to Montreux for the jazz festival, for the concert of Lenny Kravitz. He has a new record, and for the concert of Sting.
Wow.
Oh.
Who's in Lenny Kravitz's band? Because I know Cindy Blackman Santana.
She plays with Santana. I saw her in January when we were in Las Vegas, and we went there for the U2 concert in the newly opened space called Sphere. And the next day I was looking for some place to go for a dinner, and I offered to my wife that we can go to some place of Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver or those guys. And she told me, okay, no, let's go for some American kitchen. We are in the States. Why should we look for something different? I said, okay, let's do something which is connected somehow with music. And I found House of Blues, which is the chain we visited in Chicago or in Los Angeles. So I looked on the program, and there was like written, today we have a concert of Carlos Santana, his greatest hits. I said, okay, to my wife, Carlos Santana is playing here? And she said, okay, no, this is a fake, or this is maybe some revival, some local band, playing Santana's songs. I said, okay, no, honey, we are in Las Vegas. Let's just have a look.
You never know.
You never know. And, it was Carlos Santana. And I looked on the tickets. There were 4 last tickets, so I bought 2 of them. And we went for a concert of Carlos Santana. And the lady you mentioned,
Cindy.
She played drums.
Yeah, she's great.
And it was fabulous. It was a great concert.
Yeah, I worked with Cindy on Jack Bruce's record. I produced Jack Bruce's last album, and she was the drummer on it for some of the songs. And she's lovely. She's a really lovely person. And I went to see Carlos, his show in London a couple of months after that, but he's very serious. He's very he's into meditation. He's quite he's not a very, I wouldn't say funny guy.
Okay, I don't know. I watched him only on the stage, and he looked like he's enjoying.
I know he's an amazing guy, but he's very serious and he's very meditative. Which is in Ireland we doesn't really roll that way. So we're always about taking the mickey, and he doesn't take the mickey. But Cindy is fun and brilliant drummer. I mean, she was just great to work with and just a really lovely person. But I've never. She worked with Lenny Kravitz as well. She's Are You Going My Way? The drummer on that. That's Cindy. So
exactly.
I don't know if she's still playing with him, but I must give her a ring and see how she's doing. So music's a huge part of your life, basically.
Oh, definitely. I love it. Yeah, I love it, and because I'm playing guitar, and I played like the country guitar when I started to play the guitar, and when I became 35, and I had to celebrate my birthday, I was thinking, I maybe change the way I play the guitar, and I had a wish to get an electric guitar. But, I had nobody beside my wife who would give it to me. So I bought it for myself.
Why not?
I gave a gift to myself, and I bought the electric guitar.
Which guitar?
I bought like a copy of the Fender Stratocaster, the black one.
Classic.
Oh, classical piece. And we played the first concert with my friends. And my anniversary, when I was 35, we say this is the first concert of our group, which we established after. And we play with this group for like almost, it will be 25 years this year. And, we have a rehearsal like every second month. And we have like 2-3 concerts a year. We play like revivals. We don't have our own songs. And it's a big fun. It's a big fun during the rehearsals, and it's big fun during the concerts. By the way, we had a rehearsal last night.
Wow, fantastic! I mean, it's great for the soul. I mean, my job is a producer, but I was an artist earlier in my career, and through dopeYEAH and also Miro Žbirka, who I worked with for many years as a producer. I produced everything from Miro from about 2011 till he died, and he used to take me on the road with him. So, I'd play the arenas again and sing some songs and play some guitar. And it was so much fun. I'm very grateful to him for giving me that opportunity again. Because it's just, to sing and to play is, people who don't do it, you can't really explain how good it is for you in every way. Like mentally, your mental health, your well-being.
You get into the other world, and your thinking becomes different, and you just put everything away. You just care about the music, to play it well, not to destroy it for your band members. It's really great. And we had a great advantage with our band, because some people from the band, they used to work for the same guy, like I mentioned before, so for the richest guy here in the Czech Republic. And for like almost 20 years, we played on the Christmas parties of this company. And basically, it went the way that first there was a serious band, and then we played around midnight, for the people to party. So it means, that we had some, how to say it in English, when you are a front runner and you have a band which plays for the people.
Support band.
Support band. So we say, okay, we had good support bands. And we had all the big Czech names, which you may not know, but we had also some foreign names. Because, for example, we had, as a support band, we had Lenny Kravitz.
Wow.
Staying.
He'll do. He'll be okay.
So it was not bad. And, you can imagine, we played on their stage with their equipment, with their lights.
Right.
So great
Or maybe,
stuff.
maybe I mean that's the headliner and the support band is the other, the other way around. But either way,
No. This was just a joke. You know,
Oh, okay,
they were the main
is support,
stars. But you know, but if we want to look like interesting, when we sit with the girls, there we say, okay, we were the headliners always, and the supporters.
Yeah, some guy called Sting. It's like an insect or something. B Sting. That's the guy. Yeah.
Exactly.
So obviously, with your love of music, that very much influenced your career within television, because you obviously brought music into television. So a lot of your choices would have been influenced by music.
Yeah. It's right, because I joined television in 2002, and I started to work for the biggest Czech commercial TV group as a CEO. I spent there 8 years, and when I finished there, almost a year after, I applied for the position of the Director General of the local public television, czechtv, and I was successful in 2011. And since 2011 until 2023, until the last year, I used to work as the DG of the television. And one of the things which we introduced to the czechtv is that we built a new channel, and it was the cultural channel. We named it CT, like czechtv, CT Art.
Sure.
And CT Art was basically the channel which was mainly focused on the culture, which means music, theater, architecture, all the arts you can imagine on TV.
Wow.
And on the art channel, we also produced some of the programs which we co-produced together with Peter and the dopeYEAH Club.
Brilliant. So, I mean, it's easy to kind of think of television as mainly a kind of just an entertainment medium, but it's so much more than that, isn't it? In its kind of reach, politically, socially, so many more aspects to it. So as a TV executive, especially on the political end, it must be very difficult to stay neutral. And how do you do it? How do you get that right?
Look, again, this is the question to answer for many hours. But it's important to mention there is a difference between the commercial TV and between the public TV. And the public TV, like BBC in UK, it has very important tasks, and one of them is to bring a news which should be independent and which should be balanced. And this is something which is easy to say but hard to deliver.
Yeah.
So we basically built immediately when I joined the czechtv, we built a system which could measure this balance based on different measurements, based on different systems and based on different procedures, to look how we are balanced, not on one day, but how we are balanced, during the time. And we could see, if the people really feel that we are balanced. And one of the main measures we tried to measure was the trust. So if the people trust that you bring them independent and balanced news, it means that your trust should be high. Mm-hmm. And the trust level of the czechtv was the highest of all television stations in the Czech Republic. We were at a level around 70%. And if we compared this to the commercial TVs, they were almost at the half or even lower. And we saw that sometimes the trust went a little bit down, but not because, we may also do some stuff not good enough, but mainly, when the populists and when, those kind of parties came to power, they basically started to fight against those news. And they didn't like that kind of news. So then the trust went a little bit down, but still, based on different research produced not only by the Czech measurement companies, but also by Reuters or by, some other companies, we kept the trust, which was at the same probably level as the BBC or some other Western TVs. So I cannot explain in few minutes how we did it, but basically that was the most important thing which I felt we should care of. And I think we were pretty successful during those 12 years.
Because in America and the UK, I think it's fair to say there's a huge mistrust of the media. I mean, I know there's certain parts of society that gravitate more towards that, but I'd even say myself with a lot of my middle-class artistic friends, you know, they're skeptical of the media now, especially young people.
But, you know, there is, for the traditional media, there is a threat of the social media. And, you know, if you are part of the social media, you are in the group of people who are the same-minded. You listen to the things which you feel you like.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is somebody who comes with other opinion or who comes with other point of view, then you may feel, okay, some of the people may feel, okay, it's fine because I listen to something different and I can make up my mind. But there are some other people who dislike it and who basically say, okay, if they say something I don't believe in, they are lying.
Mm-hmm.
And as they are used to be in the social bubbles, which always agrees with them.
Echo chambers.
Exactly. Then this may be a problem. And this is something which is the main opportunity for the traditional media to keep that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And how to do it? You know,
this is the $10 million question.
Exactly.
So young people and television, I mean, that must be a challenge, keeping them engaged. I mean, I'm sure you've got a view on that.
Look, I think that, you know, the current young generation will behave in a different way than we did. But in the same time, if the television, and television means the institution, it doesn't mean, you know, the channels only. If they find a way how to approach the young generation, and if they care about the products which may be good for the young generation, they can get them aboard. But it means that you have to think, for example, in drama production. If you produce drama for adults, you basically do a series, 12 episodes of like 50 minutes. But for the youngers, you have to think about something which is shorter. So you have to do like 12 episodes by 10 or 15 minutes the most.
Sure.
Because they don't keep that attention for so long.
I remember
So if you do it, that's first, you have to produce something which is directly for the young generation. But you have to also find a proper channel to deliver it to them. So although, you know, TikTok may be a company which has its question marks, it's the company who has 2 million accounts in the Czech Republic. So, you know, as a TV, you have to think how to get to those places where the youngers are. What we did in the Czech TV, we established, also when I came in 2011, we established a channel which was devoted to the children in the age between 4 to 12. And we felt that if those people, if the children will just get to know or will know, you know, that we are delivering them good product, then they may escape to the internet and social media. But when they become a little bit older, like 25, 30, they will remember for that small logo in the left upper corner, and they will come back if in the meantime we will be able to serve them through the channels they are used to use.
It was I remember with my stepkids when they were younger. I mean, they're older now, and they used to watch movies, and they would watch it in like 20-minute, half-hour segments. I couldn't get my head around that because I need to watch a movie from the start to the very start to the very end in one watch. You know, I couldn't bear that. You know, but they would watch it, and they'd watch a movie like a half an hour, then come back to it a few days later, watch another half an hour. I was just, how can they do this? But that's their way of consuming, which was a mystery to me.
And even worse, you know, they are watching the movies on the phone.
Yeah.
Although they have a chance to watch it on the big screen.
Exactly.
They have it at home, but they watch it on the phone. This is my children, they do the same.
I was talking to a friend of mine and their son is really into football and there was a big match on. And he said, I'll put it on the telly. He said, no, I prefer to watch it on my phone. Football on the phone,
Yes.
you know, instead of watching it on the big screen. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, the ball is such tiny.
Yeah, and exactly. But that's the way they want to consume it. And I suppose, I mean, you know, we have to, technology has given them that and they're consuming it, you know, in whatever way they want to consume it. And you have to roll with that if you want to succeed, because you got to give people what they want.
Yep.
Don't give them what they don't want, because they'll just won't watch.
Yeah,
And that's,
you're right.
I mean, that's a kind of a simple business premise, isn't it? Give people what they want if you want to be successful, which kind of leads me on to.
And this is exactly the way how you can survive with the traditional media, because you have to be everywhere. You have to be, you know, there in time. They decide, not you decide, and you have to give them the product they like.
Yes, I'm in total agreement with that. In the music industry, we've been having a huge conversation about AI.
Yeah.
Massive. Recently, there's a new company, Udio, I think they're called. I think will.i.am is involved in it. And I listened to it the other day. Oh my God, it's amazing. It was shockingly amazing. I mean, I do a lot of music. Besides producing artists, I do music for television and from film as well. This was terrifyingly good. You just put in tag words, et cetera, and it spits out amazing tracks. I thought it was going to be a bit cheesy, not that great. It was terrifyingly good. And I said it to my friends and they were like, oh shit, it's all over. It's not, but it's definitely a huge challenge for the music industry moving forward. Have you got a similar thing happening within TV? Is AI affecting television?
Oh, definitely. It will, and it will affect it since the scratch. So it will affect it, you know, when you do the scripts for some TV stuff. And it will even produce some video stuff. And, you know, I read a study which says that 3 years from now, like 60 or 70% of every, you know, content on the internet will be AI produced.
Wow.
Which is something which, you know, maybe we cannot imagine today, but we have only two ways, you know. We should accommodate and know how to work with it, or just, you know, being overwhelmed with it. So I think, you know, AI can be a problem, big problem, but in the same time, big advantage. And we have to use it wisely. I don't have my way, you know, how to work it. I'm playing with ChatGPT, and you know, it gives me, you know, such a results that I really cannot understand, you know, how it works. But you know, you tell the computer by your voice, you tell them, write me a letter where you only say, Rob, you are a good guy, but make it nice and make it more formal. And you get a page which like looks great, you know. You do like the fine tuning, and you can send it away.
I'll send you a link to this new website. Honestly, I know I'm banging on about it. It's terrifyingly brilliant. I mean, when I saw it, when I heard it, and even the interface is really easy to do, but it's kind of moving into the future. You know, the skill of learning guitar, learning drums, learning bass, you know, putting the hard work into something, which, you know, maybe I'm, you know, just a bit of an old fart here, but I think that's really important, you know, that we kind of strive to learn. Everything shouldn't be so easy. You know,
but then, you know, if you only know how to program that system to listen to guitar and you cannot play it by yourself, you miss the fun.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is where, you know, young people are being slightly shortchanged. I mean, look, there's always been technology helping musicians and filmmakers, but I think it's going to another level now. It's like literally where you're just mentioning a few phrases. You said, can I have it just like this, a bit like that artist, a bit like this, and just enter a bit of data, and then it comes up with a whole track, then it'll give you the instrumental. I mean, and then, you know, it'll write lyrics for you. It'll do the whole job, and it's unique. I mean, the music industry at the moment is dealing with it, and I think they're trying to legislate that. Basically, if you're using other people's material, like record companies who have produced loads of tracks over, you know, decades.
You have to care about the IP.
You have to tell them, and then, you know, and then you have to pay for that. So if you use it, if the machine learning uses those songs, you have to pay. Now, that's a bit of a glimmer of hope. But at the moment, they're fighting against it, all the AI companies. And is there that similar kind of conversation going on in television?
That will come as well. That will come as well. And, I don't believe too much in the legislation only, because it's always late. I believe more about the people who will find a way how to use it in a proper way. If there is a future for a system which will tell you if this was artificially produced or if this was produced by mankind, this may be something which you will be looking for. Maybe in the future, there will be a value in the stuff which will be produced by the normal people, in quotes. Maybe this is something which there will be a system which will mark, for example, the news which were produced by the editor, which was confirmed, which was double-checked, which basically didn't come from, unknown sources. So this may be the way how to handle with this. But,
it's a big question. I was thinking about the other day because the argument about, you have to sort of pay for if you use certain songs to influence the AI. But then I thought, I often get asked to do jobs for TVs and programs and films, and they will give me references. They'll say, Rob, can we have it a bit like, Van Halen meets Billie Eilish, So, and a bit of classical music. So I listen to classical music, Billie Eilish, Van Halen, and I try to piece it together and come up with something new. What's the difference in me doing that and AI doing that? I think the argument is difficult. I think ultimately that's going to be a tough one to win. So I do believe there'll be opportunity. Like there's always opportunity with these things, but I think a lot of jobs will fall by the wayside. And I think at the end of the day, I always tell artists, become a brand, because that's where the value lies. If you could create a brand that people want to buy into, then that's where the power is. But if you're just a backroom boy with a lot of jobs, just kind of, it's tough times ahead. Yeah. You got to think on your feet, and how do you get round of it, and how do you take advantage of it? That's what I'm trying to figure out with people I'm working with at the moment. Because as I said, I do a lot of music for television and for film, and what's to stop, like even the advertisers then or the film people just using that AI and cutting out, the artist. That, if you're making a new TV program, just say, we want it a little bit like, I don't know, Metallica, meets whoever, and you just ask it to do it and it spits it out and you put it on your TV program. I mean, it is challenging. I don't have a solution. I don't have a solution, and I think we will not find it today. I don't think we will either. But so, moving forward, we've kind of answered the question, but where do you see the future of television?
I still believe that the television is a solid media, and as in the past, the television didn't replace radio didn't replace newspapers didn't replace books. So I believe the television will survive, but it will change a little bit. On one hand, there is a way to more streaming services where the people will choose, what they want to watch. In time they are able to watch. But for the television, still there is a big place in being live.
Yeah. And
live means live for entertainment, live means for sports, and live means for news. And if you are through the television at the place where something happens, and it's in this only moment, this is something which you cannot transfer up to now through the internet, for example, because it's not technologically viable. Imagine, we are playing today a hockey match against Canada. And I'm pretty sure that there will be like 2 million people watching today's match.
Right.
If 2 million people will sit in the same time to the internet trying to watch that game, it will totally fail.
Right.
So, and the people will watch because they want to be there. They want to watch the goals in time when they happen. And they want to have a discussion like 30 minutes after the game, sitting with a beer, trying to remember what happened.
Sure.
And if you watch it tonight instead of today in the afternoon when it happens, you are away. You are not part of the group who saw it.
I get it.
So I believe the live television has a big, like a big future, and it's the same with the entertainment. If you look, for example, for the entertainment show like Strictly Come Dancing, we call it in our country Stardance, but it's the same license.
Sure.
You want to know if your favorite pair went out tonight. You don't want to watch it tomorrow in the morning.
No, I agree. I agree. I mean, I do watch Match of the Day in the UK. I think I love it, because it's the highlights and you see all the games, you see the best bits.
Yeah, but you already know.
Yeah, it's not the same as watching a game in real time and persevering with it and the tension and.
Exactly, and for the news, this is the same. When something happens in the street of Prague today, the TV is the fastest media who can inform the people what happened.
Absolutely. And also, you've been involved in sport over the years. You spent a couple of years working at SK
Slavia.
Slavia Prague.
There are two big teams, or no, three big teams in the Czech Republic. It's Sparta, Slavia, and Plzeň.
How was that? Was that a great experience? Good experience?
It was a great experience. I came to the club in the 1995, and I was there on behalf of the financial group I worked for.
Right.
And my task was just to restructure the team and try to find a strategic partner. It took me 2 years. I succeeded that time. And since that time, I really love football. And I'm a fan because I have to be the fan of Slavia. I cannot be a fan of other club.
So international clubs, who do you like?
From the
say the Premier League in England.
I like Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well, both our friend Petr Cech.
Yeah.
Played with Arsenal. Shame he doesn't anymore, or Chelsea, because I used to get to go to the games and sit up in the director's box. That's gone. But I saw him the other day. He's playing ice hockey. His wife kind of was also, it's very dangerous. It was football. He had his head injury and all that, but he was still fearless. But so his wife thought maybe he'll kind of be a bit more relaxed. Now he's playing ice hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, you ever seen those guys' faces, half their teeth missing, you know what I mean? But I love Peter. He's a dear friend.
He's a good drummer.
He's a great drummer. And in fact, when I was working with Miro and Miro Žbirka, we were doing the show at the O2 and Miro flew him in on a private jet for the show. And we had McCartney's band with us as well. It was a brilliant, brilliant day. But yeah, he could hold his own. He's got good time. And he's just a beautiful person. He and his wife, Martina, and the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's, somebody the Czech people are very proud of him. They should be, because he is a superstar in sport.
Yeah, he is.
Peter's probably one of the best goalkeepers of all time. He's probably in the top 5 goalkeepers of all time.
Oh, definitely. And he is one of the 5 sportmen which are recognized internationally, in every country.
Yeah, and loved by everybody.
Yeah.
He's just a good person, a good guy, and fun to be with. And I met him at the airport a couple of weeks ago, just coming through
really?
Prague Airport. We had a chat and a drink, and it was really great to see him. And we see each other a few times a year, but I'm very, very fond of him. I met him through Miro as well, and because obviously when we got him to.
By the way, do you know when we met for the first time?
No, what was that?
We met with Miro Žbirka.
Oh, he interviewed me for the show.
Because because you produced his album in Abbey Road.
Yes, that's right.
And we went there together with Miro for a visit and for a tour of the studio.
That's right.
And that time I remember we were in the studio. Miro was sitting at the piano playing Beatles songs. And it was amazing experience.
Yeah, he adored it there. I was glad to give him that, because I remember the first time I think it was the second album, and we went into he said, which room are we working in? I said, we're going to be in Studio 3. The Beatles did Revolver there, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon was done there. It's going to be good, man. So he said, who's going to be in the band? I said, don't worry about that. I'll sort that out. So just come tomorrow. I'll see you there at 12 o'clock. So he kind of, he walks into the studio and the musicians are already there and he just stops. He's like, is that who I think it is? I said, who do you think it is? He said, is that who I think? Who do you think it is? Come on. He said, is that Paul's band? I said, yeah, it's Paul's band. He said, why are they in the studio? I said, they're playing on your record, mate. And he was just like, it was great. But as I said, on the upside, I like to think I kind of gave him that. But he gave me the joy of singing live again, and he took me on the road with him and got to play in sold-out arenas. And
great guy.
We had a lot of fun together, and we laughed all the time. And he was one of my dearest friends. I miss him terribly. Yeah. And every time I come to Prague,
I do the same.
You know, I'm like, I can't believe I'm not ever going to see him again. You know. And it was a real shock. I mean, I knew he wasn't well. I knew how sick he was. I knew it was near the end, but still, I was still hoping maybe, you know, somehow we could pull him back, but it wasn't to be.
But if it comes, you know, you recognize, you know, how deep is the loss.
Yeah. Yeah, grief is difficult, you know, I'll be honest. I still think of him all the time, and same with Jack Bruce, who I lost. And Jack and I were really, really close friends. And Bernie Marsden, you know, he gave me my break in the UK. He brought me over when he left Whitesnake, and I joined his band as a singer, and I toured the world with him. And he kind of gave me my first break, and I ended up producing his record in Abbey Road 30 years later. And we were really close as well, especially the last few years. And he died last year, and that was super, you know, it's kind of interesting dealing with your mortality when you see people you worked with, you know, passing away, and you know, you have to deal with it, but it still is a shock that, you know, your time here is limited. You better enjoy it because you just never know
exactly
when it's all going to stop. And so what's the future for you now, Peter? What's your next step? What are you interested in getting involved with?
Look, you know, I finished my appointment with the czechtv after 12 years in the end of September last year. I have the anti-compete clause not to be able to work for media production companies, TV companies until the end of this September. So I just take some time off.
Okay.
Looking around, and definitely when this will expire, I will look around. I don't want to lose my 20-year experience in media, but in the same time, you know, there are so many different areas,
new challenges
which are interested. Like you mentioned, AI. This is something which is really, you know, challenging now. So I will see. Definitely, I will not sit at home. I will not enjoy a gardening leave. My wife tells me that I am working, although when I'm sleeping. so she feels that I should go and do something. So I will do something.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We are thinking about some joint projects together with Peter here in dopeYEAH.
Brilliant.
And we'll see. Something will come.
Lastly, I wanted to talk to you about Eurovision, because you've been involved in Eurovision as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I was, because, you know, based on my presence in the czechtv, I was part of the EBU, which is the European Broadcasting Union.
Sure.
And I spent almost 8 years being a member of the executive board, which is the main board of the union.
Yeah. And
the last 3 years, I served as the vice president of this EBU. And EBU is the producer of the Eurosong. And, you know, when I joined the executive board, I recognized that, you know, the czechtv should join Eurovision again, because, you know, there were some years when the czechtv didn't participate in this. And
why was that?
It's pretty expensive.
Right.
And it was not so popular here in the Czech Republic. And basically the Czech critique, they felt like it's a more like freak show as like a serious music event.
Right.
And we tried to change this opinion, and I believe that we succeeded to change this opinion. The people already recognize that the Eurovision, you know, some of the songs are crazy, but, you know, overall, it's a big event, big European event. And, you know, as a part of the executive board, we always had this as one of the topics on our meetings. You know, we discussed the Ukraine stuff a year ago when, you know, Ukraine won in 2021.
Sure.
But wasn't able to organize it. And then, you know,
Liverpool.
They joined together with BBC, and they did a great show in Liverpool. So, yeah, I spent with Eurovision a lot of time.
One of my best friends, one of my dearest, closest friends is Johnny Logan.
Okay.
So I spoke to him yesterday, but he's on holiday in Spain, but like he's a kind of hero, Eurovision hero. He's the only one to win it won it twice as an artist and once as a songwriter. I know Sweden, that lady in Sweden won it twice, but he's also won it as a songwriter. So he's the only one to win it twice as an artist and once as a songwriter. But we kind of grew up together in Dublin. I used to go out with his wife's sister, and we spent a lot of time, Sean, and his real name is Sean. And we spent a lot of time together. We used to get into so much trouble when we were younger, but that's not for the podcast. But he's one of the most fun, fabulously talented guys. He's a really excellent singer, a really good songwriter as well. And
funny, I told always to my team when we joined again Eurovision and when we tried to get to the final, I told them, okay, you are allowed to get, up to the second place. But don't go for the first, because then
you have to pay for it.
You have to produce it and you have to pay for it. But in the last year of my stay in the Czech TV, I told them, look, let's win it, because I would love to produce it.
Yeah,
it's such a big show.
It's huge now.
And if you are able to participate on that production, this is something you can find just few times in your life.
I mean, it's become like a must-see in the UK. People love it for the fun. They dress up.
Same in Scandinavia.
Yeah, it's a huge show. And also, but the productions are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the stage productions are world-class. I mean, I watched it this year. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and I went for the live show in Liverpool. I watched the live show in Lisbon a year before. It's a really big production.
Listen, Peter, it's been fantastic talking to you. I could talk to you all day, and if there was a pub nearby, we'd be there now. Chat for the rest of the afternoon. Okay. Watch some football.
Let's look, space. And
let's just look at the fabulous Charlotte Space Age Museum, and hopefully I'll catch you again soon. But thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.